Hold music. You want to avoid it, and so do your customers. So say goodbye to hold music and hello to faster, smarter support with Salesforce. Make service more personal and agents more productive using built-in trusted AI. Then watch costs and wait times drop and satisfaction soar. Support customers in a whole new way with Service GPT. Learn how at salesforce.com/servicegpt.
Welcome to NatureBacked podcast. My name is Tarmo Virki, and in this episode I'm talking with Patrick Flesner on sidelines of Startup Day festival in the town of Tartu in southern Estonia. Patrick is a partner at LeadX Capital Partners and author of bestseller book Fastscaling. He has 2 more books coming out this fall.
Hey there, I'm Merit. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Single Earth, and we are building a nature-backed currency to empower you to fight against climate change and biodiversity loss. Sign up at Single.Earth and be among the first to switch to a truly sustainable, nature-based economy. And don't forget to join the discussion around climate change and biodiversity loss on our Discord channel. Enjoy the show.
Welcome, Patrick, to the NatureBacked.
Yeah, thanks for having me today.
We're sitting today in Tartu, of all places, at the sidelines of Startup Day. Tell us a few words about why are you at the Startup Day? What have you done in the startup world to, for them to put you on stage here?
Yeah, so I think the journey started 17 years ago. I started out as a lawyer working in private equity on multi-billion-dollar transactions, mainly PE. And after my INSEAD MBA, I focused more on venture. That was 8-9 years ago. Oh, already 13 years ago. A long time. And yeah, so I got more and more involved in the ecosystem. I also advised Metro Group, the big wholesaler, with regards to their venture active companies succeed while others fail. And I've realized that what I call, so the most startups that fail have kind of bad cash burn, which means they burn cash to create the product, to create the tech, to invest in marketing and sales. So they build the plane while flying. And the good cash burn in the companies that succeed is actually they do not burn cash in product and tech anymore. They have found product market fit, have validated the business model, and they invest cash in order to capture market share. And there are studies out there found it. They call it premature scaling. Stanford and Berkeley University have done that study. And then, there was a pattern. And when the pandemic hit, I decided, I do not have to commute anymore, so I can now write a book, which was certainly totally underestimating what it means to write a book. And the funny part is, when I published it, I was to speak at Arctic 15, and Jana Meri said to me, why not have a LinkedIn post, a competition about fast-scaling growing businesses, and whoever wins, gets a free signed copy. And yeah, Harry Tallen won. He got the book, and that was 1.5 years ago. And Harry and I, we are still in touch. And now I'm here, and I've been speaking at Investor and Startup Day. That's life, right?
Absolutely, accidents happen, and the more you get out and get things done, the more accidents will happen.
Yeah. True.
Late stage companies of 5 to 10 million revenues. Is it safer to invest in later stages?
Yeah, it's safer. Yeah, you take less risk, and especially now, you must know we are backed by a strategic investor. They hate insolvencies. So our goal was never to create a fund determined by the power law where you need to create one unicorn and then everything is good. It was more about building a strong portfolio of companies that make sense also for Metro Group from a strategic perspective, and that will get to the finishing line. And certainly if you invest later stage, people have validated that it works. There is a market need, there is a product. So the main question is actually, is the team able to scale the business? And we are currently divesting this fund, have already done 2 great exits, not unicorns, but I think yesterday in my speech I talked about this party at the beach where founders have bought their house at the Côte d'Azur. I think the founders can buy this house now, and also we make good returns. And we have one company in the portfolio, MatSmart, the Swedish company, where I think this is a great company, a great team that can actually become a unicorn. So I'd say the strategy worked, but it was a different strategy than usually venture capital investors pursue.
You said basically the challenge is that for whether the managers can scale this, and often there is a kind of point of a kind of breaking point in the startup life when you have the founders there who get the company from 0 to 1, but then you need the next person, or you need that founder to learn, develop, change. How much is this breaking point kind of killing companies? Or
that's a good question. So in my presentation here, I've shown one statistic that says 9 out of 10 startups fail. So one succeeds. And the question is, what is success? And I've said, for me personally, if I created a 5 million revenue businesses with a 40% margin, I would bring home 2 million each year. I do this 5 times. I have my house at the Côte d'Azur. So for me, that would be a great success. That's not what venture capital investors look for, what many founders not look for. Right? So I dive deeper into the statistics, and I found one that said 99.4% don't make it beyond 10 million in revenues. So for me, conclusion, it's already difficult to build a decent startup, but it's incredibly difficult to scale a business. And then certainly the question is, why? And in my first book, Fastscaling, I showed a way how founders can actually avoid this kind of premature scaling, how they can go about systematically, how to go systematically about building businesses. But this is only growth strategy, which at the end of the day is only a leadership decision, right? Which strategy to pursue. And if I look into other statistics, I ask founders, they all tell me, we ran out of cash, that's the reason for failure. And I said yesterday, actually that's not the reason for failure. Startups do not fail because they run out of cash, they run out of cash because the leaders fail.
They fail, exactly.
It's always a leadership decision. Sometimes leaders say, well, but my chief revenue officer said we should go after that market. And I say, who hired that chief revenue officer? It wasn't me, it was the HR department. Who hired the HR department? So it's maybe unfair, but at the end of the day, it's all about leadership, it's all about the founder. And for me, as an investor, I've learned whatever I see, if I don't see a strong leadership team, a strong leader, I don't invest. Because it's leadership that you need to embrace if you want to lead and scale a 50 employee, 100 employee, 500 employee business. It's about, as Simon Sinek said, it's not about the customer anymore. You are not in charge of the customer, you are in charge of the people who are in charge of the customer. And if you cannot lead people, you will fail. And if you're a bad leader, you will not attract great talent, because great talent wants to work for great leaders. And the conclusion was the new books, right? I wrote the leadership books.
But for the typical founder to actually start to manage people instead of clients, it's a huge leap.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I talk to founders, I said, I tell them, you need to start now developing your leadership skills. You cannot only look outside the company, you need to look inside, because at some point in time, you will realize, damn, now I have to lead. I cannot make all decisions anymore. And then it's too late. You cannot learn leadership, just opening up a book or attending one course. It's like, I always say, they are overwhelmed by what they hear. Like, I should trust and inspire, I should empower, I should hire people who are better than me, and they should tell me what to do. How much do I have to be involved? Actually, should I be totally hands off or involved in execution? So many questions, and leadership comes in a piecemeal fashion. You read great books, start with why, trust and inspire, from good to great. They tell you also, hey, be humble. I think it's pretty hard for a founder to really go about becoming a leader, transitioning from founder to leader in a systematic way. I think that's challenging, but if they don't do it, they will fail. So they have to start somewhere.
And the whole company will fail, not only them.
Exactly.
In the early stage, that they are the crucial part of the kind of growth journey of any startup.
Yeah, and I think about it. If you start out with 4 or 5 people, and then maybe 10, you can be involved as a founder in all decisions. And if the decisions are wrong, you pivot. And I say they incur leadership debt if they make poor leadership decisions, but you can repay that debt early on. But at some point in time, if you're too big, you cannot be involved in all decisions anymore, because then you become a bottleneck and bring the whole organization to a halt. So you need to have people who do not ask for permission, who not ask for approval, who can make important decisions themselves. And in order to create that kind of organization, you need to be a strong leader. So I don't know where this point is, but probably when you reach like 20 employees, 30 employees, then it becomes crucial. And that is the latest point in time where you should realize, I need to transition to a leader now, which is hard.
But from many companies, the solution is hiring the leader from outside.
Yeah, I mean, you can do this. And I think it's amazing. I admire the founders who realize I can build companies, but I'm not the right one to scale them. And they say, I take a backseat now, I go into the board of directors, and we hire someone who can scale this business. It's also a solution, right? Then I as a founder say, I will never be a leader, and I just become a serial founder. And whenever I get to the stage, I hand over the reins to someone else, and which is really cool. But I don't know whether there's a statistic, but I doubt that many founders are so self-aware and realize and want to let go.
The statistics would be probably hard to find, but from the people I know, I can see the logic there, and I also really admire the people who can say that my core skill is finding the new markets. I'll have another guy to come in as a CEO. I'll go to be a new business VP or something else in the organization. That happens, but probably not as often as should happen.
Yeah, but even if I were a founder and I were to realize I'm not a leader, there were like the two options, right? Go out and found again, or become a leader.
Yeah.
For me personally, I love challenges, and I would love to at least try to see whether I can actually turn into a leader. But maybe this is also the danger that many think, I give it a try, and they just fail because it's not easy. You don't. It's easy to become a leader. Yeah.
But as you said, you love challenges. So writing the first book was a challenge bigger than you expected. But then you decided to do 2 more.
Yeah, that was actually when the first one became a bestseller. I realized, okay, I know now why probably 70% of all startups fail, and I asked myself, what actually about the rest? And then I started this research again, and then I realized it's actually all about leadership. And I realized when my conversation with founders, they didn't know where to start. And then it was like, I could write this book, but then I will have to start again, and it's a long journey. And I didn't dare to tell my wife. And actually, I told her at some point in time I would write 1 new book. I didn't tell her it was 2. No, but it's. For me, it was really rewarding to get this feedback from founders, actually from across the globe, who just, one LinkedIn post. I don't know why I started reading this book at 2 a.m. in the morning, but I can't stop reading. You should do as well. This is kind of so rewarding that, I help people. And I think with the new book and new books, I think hopefully I can achieve this again, that people say, it was so incredibly difficult to start on this leadership journey. Your books helped me. And then I said, okay, actually challenge, why not write it in as a novel? Because embed the whole story, the leadership path into a novel. And that was a challenge for me because I've never written a novel, but I always wanted to. So I started out there, and then at some point in time I said, and I fall in love with this novel, I must say. I really love it. And I'm proud. But also I thought, okay, but there will be the people who actually look for the similar book like Fastscaling. It's structured with key learnings. And so I said, okay, I do both. I write the the guide and I write a novel, and together it's like kind of a system that both books can work standalone, but reading them both is helpful, because in the conversations in the novel, it's about a founder and a business angel. They talk certainly about all the typical founder problems, and the business angel helps him, she as a business angel helps him a little bit, on his path and challenges him a bit. And so there are really a lot of real life situations that I've had with founders, went into this novel, while the guide is, again, like more German style, straight to the point, certainly introducing the whole concept. Why is the leadership house this framework that you should follow? And then I dive deep into each element of the framework. Now it's the books are with the editors, and it's only a few weeks until they will be published. It's pretty exciting. And today I have to go back to Germany. It's again a 9 or 10 hour trip. So I'm still, working a little bit on the guide, a few last sentences, changes.
Interesting times.
Yeah.
I remember recently seeing German fiction about the startup world on Netflix.
Well, I've watched this as well. What's the name?
Think, Stonk, something.
This was awesome.
Yes, it was.
The finance institution failure.
Wirecard.
Yeah.
Yes.
I liked it a lot.
And it ended in a way that there's probably a sequel coming.
Yeah.
The season 2.
Yeah. No, but really, I liked it a lot. So worth for everyone who's listening is worth watching.
Yes, something to add to your startup TV watch list following the US series. Also, the German one was really well done.
Okay, people say the characters are not really 100% as they were in reality, but it was really about, I think it's close to what
reality.
You can see. Yeah.
It's close to what you can see, probably. Wow. Yes. What I wanted to ask you, the fund you guys were setting up for Metro.
Yeah.
The logic of not failing with your investments.
Yeah.
That's probably not that common in the VC world.
Yeah. I think that's why we are not a typical VC fund.
Or is it more common in a corporate VC space? Probably is.
Absolutely. I mean. So when I joined, my idea was we need to create something that is known in the industry. Yeah. So if you go out, want to make good investments, and you invest from the balance sheet, people already smell you're a corporate. Yeah. So the idea was from the very beginning, we need a separate fund, we need a typical fund structure, and we need good people from the venture industry, not people from the corporate world that have done M&A and they now say, that's the same. I can also do venture capital. Yeah. So everyone in the fund was a PE or VC professional. We had separate funds. And the goal was to create financial returns in a specific segment. But nevertheless, if you are backed by this corporate, a publicly listed company, they don't want to report on insolvencies every second week. So even if you're kind of separate, you always have this in mind that yes, there's a link to the corporate world, and that this also holds you back as a team, and has also become quite frustrating over time, because some deals we couldn't make because the corporate just asked why should we, and we had to pass some really cool deals, which is frustrating for the team. At the same time, if you always have to look for immediate impact for a corporate, and you have to invest in startups. Yeah, that's a tricky one. And I've written also in renowned journals like MIT Sloan Management Review about corporate venture capital. In the Corporate Venture Capital magazine, I've written about corporate venture capital. I think I understand how it could work, but it's so difficult to get this corporate, into this mindset that venture capital is a marathon, that there are failures. You need to invest in many companies. You cannot just say I only invest if I immediately have an impact on my business. So I think I wouldn't say we failed, because we've made good investments and the fund returns will be good. But I think we could have been better if we had been fully independent, and that's what we are currently. We spun out of Metro Group. We are an independent team now. We're raising our own fund. So let's see where this journey brings us. But it seems we are also a little bit risk averse. We will not really change the strategy. We are still not unicorn hunters, but focus on good businesses where we believe, like the Swedish business, it can become a unicorn, but it's okay if we make 3 or 4 times our money.
Is the focus still remaining kind of in a retail-related sector, or will you be looking the world wider or in a different way?
Yeah. So I mean, our focus is from financial metrics. It's about more than 10 million revenues and EBITDA positive. So between 0 and 5 million EBITDA, because more than 5 million, then this company becomes relevant for PE again. But if the companies are EBITDA positive and growing maybe 30-40% only, they're not interesting for venture, which is a niche, which is already, I think, not easy to find good companies there. So if we would narrow it further down, I think then our opportunities would be too small. So I think we look for tech companies in the space, and we need to understand the industry. We understand consumer industries. We understand impact, sustainability. So this is kind of where we're looking for business model. We are kind of agnostic, but something in consumer industries, it needs to have really tech component. That's actually what we're looking for.
So really kind of sector agnostic is probably the key word. And from the other side, the key word is that the certain stage where they've kind of validated in full, already making decent money, but not yet skyrockets.
Exactly. No? I mean, if you're profitable, you kind of and more than 10 million, then there is obviously a working business model. We could also. So the idea was to invest 50% in really profitable business and 50% in cash burning companies. But then again, what I said before, good cash burn, where it's only about capturing market share.
Exactly. Okay, interesting. The good cash burn and bad cash burn, and it's the analogy we're earlier making about building the plane while flying. On an analogy level, it sounds totally impossible, but some startups succeed in that, right?
Yeah.
How is that possible?
Oh, good people. Yeah, I mean, and I think it's possible. It's just more complex, and the chances are just high that you run out of cash because you don't get a next cash injection. So you can do this, you can succeed, and many founders, or not many founders, but we know the famous ones.
Many known founders.
Exactly. Yes. And the problem with these known founders is, the others want to emulate this behavior, and they miserably fail. So you can see this, and that's great, but it's like nature. You crawl, you walk, you run, and now we cannot fly, but we can fly with planes. But some people seem to manage. They start flying and then learn to crawl. So that's great, but I think that's not nature. and also building businesses there are many analogies that you can have with nature, and crawl, walk, run is, I think, a good one.
Absolutely. Maybe last thing to start wrapping it up, the book writing.
Yeah.
How do you write a bestseller book?
Good content, I guess, huh?
Could be, but I'm sure there is like a lot of good content which has no readers whatsoever.
Yeah, but I think it starts there. No, I think if you look at the first book, there was blitzscaling, and so for me it was clear there is a market for these kind of books. And it's a pity that there's only blitzscaling, because I think it's not smart to blitzscale. It's only smart in certain circumstances. So there was obviously a market for these kind of books where founders long for a systematic way of going about growing. So there was a market. I wrote in English because the market's then bigger. So it's really about market, and then writing a book. I had to learn about writing a book. I read about how to write books. I read content, so the idea evolved over time. So you learn it. So I built my plane while flying, if I may. And now the leadership books.
With a book, it's easier. You don't really have any, risk of crashing.
Yeah. Although I don't like the word easy in connection with writing a book, I must confess.
I agree. It's not the easiest thing. I've also done one, so it's not the easy thing.
And the second one, again, No, as I said, if I talk to founders, they don't know where to start. They want to have some kind of guide that you can follow. And so there is obviously a need in the market. And now I actually know how to write guides. I didn't know how to write a novel, so I had to learn this as well. But there is a need, and then it's about learning. And for an investor to publish books, I can tell you, 15th March 2001, I think I published the first one. Hell, that was exciting and dangerous. If they had not liked the book, the people, it would have hurt also my brand as an investor, maybe our brand as a company, as a fund. So it's also a risk. But in the second one, I'm more content.
More comfortable.
More comfortable, yeah.
And when is it out?
The Leadership House, the novel, is out in November this year. It can be bought on Amazon. And the second one will be published in December, also on Amazon. It's called Leading Effectively. That's the guide. Okay.
And we'll add the links to the show notes after they are published.
Highly appreciate it.
Good stuff. Thank you, Patrick.
Thanks a lot.
Join us again for the next episode. Thank you for listening. If you like the show, please give us a good rating and leave the feedback in your podcast player so others will find it too. We will be back next week. Turn on to NatureBacked podcast.
Welcome to Tuning Into Sound Wellbeing, where we harmonise your mind, body and soul. I'm Amanda, your sound therapy expert.
And I'm Stephen, the curious explorer uncovering the mysteries of sound.
Together we explore vibrations, frequencies and the power of sound therapy and tuning forks.
Discover ancient wisdom, reduce stress and tune into a healthier life. Subscribe to Tuning Into Sound Wellbeing today.
If you want to hear all the newest hits in today's hip-hop and R&B...
21, can you do something for me? 21. Can you hit a little rich flex for me?
And I'm bad like the Barbie. I'm a doll, but I still wanna party. Pink felt like I'm ready to bend. I'm a 10, so I pull in a can. Like,
what up, it's your boy Lil Durk. All my life, they be trying to keep me down.
Make sure to check out Urban 95, your #1 urban party station, by downloading the free Audless app, available now on both the Google Play and App Store.
Electricast.